in fall of 2015, they had the trick or treat raids, which they raided all of the clubs and suspended almost all of our liquor licenses pending investigation and all kinds of stuff for a lot of reasons. Just walked in building by building, shut the doors. Nobody can leave. I want to see everybody's ID. This place is closed. You cannot sell alcohol anymore. By the time we leave, you have to remove all the alcohol from behind the bar. And we had to do that. Before anybody could leave, we had to take all the booze from behind the bar and store it in the storeroom. And every club, like I said, every club down here went through it. One of the ways that they were able to take off and make these raids the sort of draconian nature they were, is they're looking for human trafficking. And this is the funny part. I mean, I understand human trafficking isn't necessarily putting people in a bus and driving them across a border or a panel van or something, or shipping them overseas in a shipping container or something like that. That's not necessarily what human trafficking is. Like people that operate as pimps and people that run girls and things like that, that's human trafficking too. And I completely understand that. I completely understand it. And that's one of the reasons that human trafficking here is out of control. We're going to bring the feds in and everything else. It is now, what is it? Almost October 2019. They have yet to make a single human trafficking arrest out of all of this. Not a single one. Not one single human trafficking arrest has been made out of this whole upheaval that we've all gone through. Like I said, most of the clubs, almost all of them, were operating completely different now. It's a completely different environment, a completely different street. But I just found it really curious that this number one thing that they're supposedly going after, they pulled a big zero out of the whole thing. Not a single arrest. I mean, not a single case was ever even charged. They didn't. I mean, it's crazy. Not much less convicted. They didn't even charge anybody with any of this stuff. There were some that just didn't change the way they did business, and eventually ended up getting shut for good, because they were. I don't know what they thought. Well, we'll just give them the money they need now, and they won't come back and bother us again. No, they came back like 6 months later and raided everybody again, and it's the true. It's absolutely true. And there was a lot of people that hadn't made the improvements that they were supposed to have made or make the changes. And it's certainly going on still in certain places, and it's very obvious to me where it's happening, because I know the people that are involved and I know what they do for a living. I'll leave it at that. Much vice in one area, it draws a lot of people. I mean, Bourbon Street's always been known as this place where people can sort of go and just kind of let loose, and they still do. They come down and behave in ways that they would never even dream of behaving in their normal lives, But when you put a bunch of strip clubs that are more or less, quasi brothels in just a few blocks, it's going to draw a lot of business. I mean, people were coming here from all over to party. New Orleans, without the sort of organic culture that we have here, which involves a lot of drinking and a lot of at least occasional bad decision making, without that, you just don't have New Orleans. When you take that out of the city, all you have is an old beat up city that really looks kind of rough. That's what you've got left. It needs the people, and it needs that kind of what they call it, a laissez le bon temps rouler. It needs that to bring these places to life. And now these buildings and this neighborhood, now it looks vintage, and now it looks old, and now it looks historic. And without the people that carry that attitude with it and make it what it is, I don't think it's going to look as good, and I don't think it's going to be as attractive as people think it will.